I used to drug niggas and then rob them. That's what I used to do.
Hours. I paid over $50,000 in studio time because you gotta pay good engineers, you gotta go to a good studio, and you gotta put in that bread. I did it with my money. So for a bitch to say that I don't motherfucking deserve it because I don't put in no fucking work, now that's when I feel like niggas is bugging. Cause I did it myself. Niggas must have forgot, my nigga, the shit that I did to motherfucking survive. Like, I had to go straight. I had to go, oh yeah, you wanna fuck me? Yeah, let's go to this hotel. And I drug niggas up and I robbed them. That's what I used to do. Nothing was motherfucking handed to me, my nigga. Nothing. So for a bitch to motherfucking say that I don't deserve shit, that's when I know that they fucking bugging. Cause they do not fucking know the shit that I had to do so niggas could take me out. Cause nobody wanted to help me. Nobody wanted to fucking help me, my nigga. Nobody.
Hello. What's up, you guys? This is your girl, Megan. Welcome back to the Hood Astro Queen. I really want to get into this piping hot cosmic tea, but really quick. All right, if this is your first time on my channel, hit that subscribe button because you know you want to. Also, don't be afraid to press that notification bell. That way you will be alerted whenever I make a new post. All right. And I want to wish everybody a happy Friday. Take these next couple of days and just enjoy the foot of capitalism being lifted off your neck, if only for a moment. If only for a moment. So, without further ado, let's go ahead and get right to the tea, okay? So, as I'm sure you guys have known, because it's literally been everywhere, people have been talking about this Cardi B scandal. This came about because actually a few days ago or earlier this week, whenever a video actually surfaced of Cardi B admitting to drugging and robbing men. Now, I do believe this video was about 3 years old. And to provide a little bit of context surrounding the situation, she is allegedly suing blogger Tasha K, rather. She's a blogger slash YouTuber, very entertaining. Like, I love her, actually. Like, it's a guilty pleasure. Like, I do watch Tasha K. But, anywho, she's suing her for slander. And she's saying that she's putting out, like, false rumors and things of that nature. And so, basically, Tasha K or her wino gang, like, dug up this video to pretty much reiterate the point that we can't slander you when you already slander yourself, because everybody know Cardi B has a big mouth. You know, she's always ranting about something, always raving about something. And I actually have done her natal chart in the past, but what I wanted to do today was revisit that, okay, and go over a few aspects. And also, last night I had the pleasure of hanging out in Rabina, her live, and you know, a lot of my followers or subscribers know Rabina. She's a YouTube astrologer. Also, I love her. She's a real deal, like the shit. And sometimes I do get different perspectives, like after watching her live. You know, maybe she'll drop a piece of information, a piece of knowledge. You know what I'm saying? That I'm like, interesting. I never looked at it from that angle, you know. And as somebody who is, you know, never too proud to admit, like, when I'm learning something new or to be open to something new, I typically like to go back and integrate that new piece of information into my findings. So, and by the way, really quick, before we actually get into the reading, I just want to state my opinion on the situation, because you know I have to. Like, what did you talk about? Yeah, so basically I feel like I don't really care for Cardi B, and it's not so much because of, like, Cardi B as a person. I don't know her as a person, obviously. I don't like what Cardi B represents, okay? And I am one of those people who feel like Cardi B is held to a different standard than a black woman. Now, I'm not necessarily a barb. I do prefer Nicki Minaj just because, you know, I prefer her artistry over Cardi B, who literally writes nothing and all she has to do is just show up to the studio and have everything handed to her. But I'm not even like a Nikki Stan, so I'm not a Barb or anything of that nature. I just feel as if Cardi B gets away with a lot of things that visibly black women don't get a chance to do. Like, we don't have that luxury. For example, if you took a look at my Azalea Banks reading that I did a few months ago, I clearly specified the reason why I have taken such a liking to her. Not because I feel like Azalea Banks is always correct, because we all know, like, she says some things where you be like, girl, like, what the fuck is you talking about? But I have a soft spot for what she represents and who she is, and that's a black woman, a dark-skinned black woman, not racially ambiguous, who is very vocal, who, I mean, very similar to Cardi B, always has an opinion, and might not even be agreeable. Like, and I would even argue has the same type of mental deficiency that Cardi B does. But we'll get into that, later on. But so, same concept, but the way that they are treated and held accountable in public are two completely different things. People would not pass an opportunity to slam and slander and just completely drag Azalea. People don't. Every time she says something, people are like, go home, Roger. Shut up, you black bitch. Shut up. She's crazy. She's a coon. Who cares? Go kill yourself. Fuck you, Azalea. Fuck you, Azalea. But when Cardi says literally anything, people are like, oh my gosh, she's so real. She's so authentic. She's young, you guys. She's young. She's young. She's not cultured yet. Just work with her. Give her time. Bitch, I'm 27. This hoe is literally 1 year younger than me. We are officially in the second semester of our 20s. That young shit is not going to fly. It's just not. It's always an excuse. She's not able-minded. She's not able-bodied. She's this. She's young. She's that. She's that. Like, girl, I don't want to hear it. Hold her accountable. Period. So, bitch, cry me a fucking river. I don't give two shits about this bitch being drugged through the mud. All right? I just don't. So, spare me. So let me give y'all what y'all came here for, child. Right? Now, as I stated previously, I have already done a birth chart reading for Cardi B, but let's just go over some of the facts, the car facts, okay? She was born October 11th, 1992, which makes her a Libra sun, Aries moon. Now, that number 11 deals with challenges, just because 11 is a karmic number, a spiritual number, and I always use the saying, like, to whom much is given, much is expected. So a lot of people who are like, were born on the 11th or have prominent 11 energy in their charts tend to have very like obstacle filled lives. Like, they face a lot of challenges in this lifetime. With her sun being at the 18th degree of Libra, that 18 brings about lots of challenges also, as it deals with materialism, hypersexuality, and just, it can make a lot of like very unpleasant character traits or character flaws, so to speak. And then also, now that I'm thinking about it, with her being a Libra, and her sun being at such a critical degree, it absolutely explains her suing these bloggers. Libras represent the court system, so they tend to be kind of sue happy. They will sue your ass. You heard? Now, her being an Aries moon definitely explains a lot, because Aries are very impulsive, okay? And I would even argue having an Aries moon is worse than having an Aries sun, because your moon is your emotions. So Aries moon people tend to be very expressive, like I said, very impulsive. They're always wearing their feelings on their sleeve. They're always reacting, like having very strong, violent, emotional reactions to things. Another Aries moon celebrity that I'm thinking about is Rihanna, right? Rihanna does have an Aries moon. And she kind of has the same reputation, but not as bad as Cardi B. But I definitely know, like, in the past, she's had a reputation to a milder extent of, like, clapping back. And, she kind of has, like, this bad gal reputation, and she'll put a bitch in their place. Like that's that Aries moon thing. And my baby daddy was an Aries moon, and whew, he'll whoop a nigga with a tall nigga. You heard? Like they're not scared of confrontation. They're not scared of, like I said, just expressing themselves. Like Aries is ruled by Mars. Mars is the planet of war. So these people are literally like, if they're not looking to overpower people with their will, they're trying to prevent other people from pushing their will off on them. So it's like power plays and like I said, when the emotions get involved, like the moon, like they can be moody and it's just, it's a lot. Like it's a lot. So there's that. Now also her sun, because you know Libra and Aries are opposites. So with her sun opposing her moon, this could actually point towards her being bipolar or having bipolar tendencies. I'm not a psychologist, but just from an astrology perspective, harsh aspects between the sun and the moon do tend to bring about a sense of like personality disorder. For example, I'm a sun square moon, and I'm literally, I have bipolar disorder. So, you know, to put that into perspective. Also, because your sun deals with your ego and your moon deals with your emotions, like I said, there's often this disconnection between the ego, how you feel, or I guess like how you appear in the world, so to speak, rather, versus your emotions and how you feel, right? So it's like you're constantly at war with yourself. And this could also be played out publicly or played out outwardly, as a lot of people with harsh sun and moon aspects can also have issues with the opposite sex, like in relationship wise. So that's something that's very interesting. Also, seeming that Cardi, even before Offset, you know, listening to some of her earlier interviews and her earlier live streams, she just like hasn't been the best pick of men. You know what I'm saying? Also, so getting down to the whole drugging thing, right? With her saying she used to drug and rob men. When I initially, I thought back to when I first looked at her chart, and the first thing that jumped out in my mind was the fact that she's a sun square Neptune. Neptune deals with drugs all day long. And this could absolutely make her capable of drugging niggas. You know what I'm saying? This aspect can bring about somebody who is shady. Like I said, with, you know, there's Neptune representing literally drugs. So this could even be either her drugging men and or her being on drugs herself, which interestingly enough is another reason she's suing Tasha K, because she's saying that Tasha K, as well as like a couple of other people from her past, have been putting it out there that she's on drugs or that she's done drugs. But then in a weird way, like it's kind of like she's admitted to it in the past also, because once again, people dug up some old videos of her talking about her putting a Molly in her pussy and let a nigga, you know, she let a nigga eat some Molly out her pussy, and you know, or maybe every now and then she'll pop a bean when she wanted, you know. So it's like, okay, you kind of admitted to doing drugs in some shape, way, form, or fashion yourself, and then looking at her behavior, like you can tell, yes, she might definitely have a personality disorder, a mood disorder, some type of chemical imbalance, but it can absolutely be exacerbated once you add substances into the equation. And she actually has a lot of Neptunian influence in her chart. So I would not, like her being on drugs, I would actually put my money on the fact, allegedly, y'all. I don't need her ass suing me. Bitch, I ain't got shit for you. But allegedly, you know what I'm saying? Like I would actually put my money on her either abusing drugs in the past, or, you know what I'm saying? She's done drugs before, I promise. So also this, like I said, this could deal with her having secrets. It can also deal with her attracting men who are just like dishonest, you know what I'm saying? Shady characters, attracting men who probably even live double lives, or who are naturally just kind of going to betray her. And obviously she's with Offset. He cheats for morning, noon, and night, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Literally, like they might as well be in an open relationship. And actually, they very well could be, unbeknownst to us, because her Neptune is in Capricorn, and Capricorn is very much about like finances, reputation, status, being kept. So her sun squaring her Neptune could even deal with her being in a relationship that's like just convenient, maybe even manufactured. I would even say that. So there's that. Also, another thing, something that Rabina pointed out in her live, which I'm like, that is so fucking right, was she was talking about how Cardi's her Venus, Mercury, and Pluto are conjoined in the sign of Scorpio, right? And she was talking about how this could create someone, especially in women, who has issues with their genitalia. Because Scorpio does represent the genitalia. I've said this before. So it made me think about the accusation, the Star Marie girl who went on Tasha K's show and basically said like Cardi B's coochie stank. A couple of people have said Cardi B's coochie stinks, but they said that she used to carry around boxes, like cases of Monostat, like the yeast infection cream. And people would be like, aren't you going to go to the doctor, sis? Like, you're just going to keep shoving Monostat up your pussy? So I'm like, wow, this makes so much sense with this aspect. Because having Scorpio, especially Scorpio Venuses, Scorpio Mars, tends to bring about like reproductive issues in women, but also like rotten crotch. Like, these women can have bacterial vaginosis, all kinds of like STIs. And also, interestingly enough, she's suing Tasha K for alleging that she has herpes. You know what I'm saying? But all of that can be indicative with her Mercury, especially Venus and Pluto in Scorpio. So, yeah, from the looks of it, she might really have that stank. Also, as it relates to her drugging and robbing men, her Venus, Pluto, and Mercury in Scorpio could actually point towards her living a life of crime, being very heavily involved in crime, as Scorpio is also the sign of criminality. I always say that, like, when I look at the chart of like rappers, mostly like gangster rappers, street rappers, a lot of them tend to have like one or more personal planets in Scorpio. And she's also a Gemini South Node. And because Gemini is the sign of duplicity, there's always this element of them being like manipulative, or even living double lives, being disingenuous, even scamming. Let me see what her Mercury is doing. Yeah, her Mercury is squared to her Black Moon Lilith in Aquarius, actually, and Saturn. And this could even deal with her being like, what's the word? Like completely unbothered, or like unemotional. Like she can do things to people without any remorse. You know what I'm saying? Like that's that Aquarian energy, especially Black Moon Lilith in Aquarius. And her Black Moon Lilith is at the 29th degree. That's that critical degree. It's the analytic degree, and it brings about third-party situations. It brings about even like abuse. It brings about scandal, right? All of that shit. And because Aquarius can deal with the internet, I would even argue this could even point towards her like getting caught up, like kind of like what she's doing now, talking too fucking much, getting caught up on the internet. And especially with Saturn, because Saturn also deals with like discipline, right? Or punishment, being punished for things that you do. You know what I'm saying? Lessons, learning lessons. So her putting her foot in her mouth, or things coming back to bite her by way of the internet, all that shit. And like I said, that Gemini South Node, just in and of itself, it just gives me all kind of scam. Of course, everybody who's a Gemini South Node, that might not be the case. So I don't want to hear, I'm a Gemini South Node. That ain't me. My mama Gemini South Node. She an angel. Okay, well, bitch, fuck you. I'm not talking about you. Another interesting point that Rabina made that prior to her live, I had not really taken into consideration is that her Mercury squaring her Saturn could even point towards her not writing her own raps, which interestingly enough is something that she's openly admitted that she don't write shit. That literally she shows up to the studio, it's all prepared, and then all she got to do is recite it. Which is why I don't really understand why she keep talking about how hard she worked. I was in the studio for 15 hours. Because, well, girl, all you had to do was repeat the song the way the writer told you to repeat it, girl, and you would have been in and out. Okay? I am not impressed. Next. Also, her Mars, she's a Cancer Mars, and y'all go watch my Cancer Mars video. I'm gonna plug it in the info box. But yeah, Cancer Mars people are something else because number one, they're defensive as fuck. And that just reinforces what I said earlier in the video. She's always defensive. She never takes accountability. And they lack the ability to be objective. Cancer Mars people are always so jaded by their feelings, by their emotions, that literally it's really hard for them to be objective and logical and rational. And that's why a lot of times there's nothing logical and rational about the shit Cardi does. She just goes for it, whatever she's feeling. She hops her ass on live and just starts talking, which definitely is what has gotten her into the hot water that she's gotten into. And honestly, I don't see her stopping because literally it's just a part of her nature. That's just how she is. And it also makes her very, it makes her family oriented too. Because, Cancer is the natural ruler of the 4th house. So it explains why she wanted a baby so bad. You know what I'm saying? And people that looked at her weird because, this is a very peculiar point in your career to want kids. But once again, that's just kind of in her nature. Also, it makes her prone to, sudden, very drastic mood swings. Which isn't helping this case of her being, supposedly just emotionally unstable. There's evidence of that all throughout her chart. So she's pretty fucked up in the head. Let's just get that out the way. And then to make it worse, her Venus is forming a trine to her Mars, which points towards her being very petty, problematic, and having issues with women, her not really getting along with women. And I can see that because she's literally always beefing with females, always. Even when you think back to that strip club environment, them bitches fight all the time. They would fight in the strip club. She got on Love and Hip Hop, fighting the bitch about her nigga. How you sleeping with my nigga and then throw a shoe at me on stage? How that? Somebody explain that to me.
Talking about Cardi in his text, what happened?
Nah, that's what happens when you talk.
But once again, we all love Cardi, right? Oh, she's so real and authentic. She's so real. I love it. Oh, okay. And then her Mars is also opposing her Neptune and Uranus. And this reinforces her being mentally unstable. And it could also point towards her making very rash decisions, very sudden decisions, even gaining a lot of backlash. So this points towards lots of backlash, controversy, especially by way of the internet. That Uranus deals with the internet also. So, this is a perfect aspect that could point towards what she's dealing with now. Her always going through situations to where she's putting her foot in her mouth. She's always literally rushing to express herself. A lot of that is that Libra energy too, because Libras are very expressive, But yeah, this Mars opposing Neptune and Uranus just makes her a wild card. It makes her the perfect figure for, like I said, controversy, scandal, all that shit. And like I said, it just makes her not the most mentally sound person. Not at all. She's fucked up. Her chart is actually very fucked up. Very. And then something else very interesting. Rabina started talking about her Her chart having certain indicators that perhaps she and culture aren't going to have that great of a relationship. She didn't really get into the aspects and what they were, but looking at her chart myself, I see that her moon is forming a quincunx to her Pluto. And that could create somebody who is very, not only has a very tumultuous relationship with their parents or their mother specifically, because that's the moon, the mom, but it can also indicate a lot about their mothering style also. So to piggyback off Rabina's thoughts, I wouldn't be surprised if growing up, culture had a very hard time, relating and just struggling with her relationship with Cardi. I would not be surprised. Her moon is also forming a quincunx to her Venus, which once again reinforces her having issues with women. It points towards her making lots of enemies and even scandal, which obviously she is no stranger to. So moving on to her fixed stars, I saw a couple that really, really were like just very telling. Her Mars actually at the 15th degree of Cancer is 1 degree off from the fixed star Canopus. And this deals with somebody who is cruel, bad-tempered, and actually very envious of other women, which is interesting because doubling back to her moon forming a quincunx to her Venus, like I said, these issues with women a lot of time can be found in insecurity, right? No matter how bad of a bitch she claims she is no stranger to feeling jealous. You know what I'm saying? Feeling jealous, feeling insecure. So I thought that was very interesting and very telling. Especially that the cruelty and, just having a bad temper, all of that can be indicative of the fixed star Canopus. Also, her Pluto is 1 degree off from the fixed star Ukalahi, I think is how you pronounce it. And it basically just brings about a dangerous, like somebody who could be considered dangerous, or maybe they've lived a dangerous lifestyle, but they're destructive, like self-destructive, dishonorable, jealous of their own sex, like jealous of other women in her case. So it reinforces this theme of her being jealous of other women. And then also it brings about a troubled domestic life, which once again reinforces this theme or my inkling of her having issues moving forward with motherhood, or her, possibly having issues in her relationship with culture. And then it also brings about dishonor to like your reputation and, your money and your career. So very interesting. And let me take another look at the aspects of Pluto. Yeah, with her Venus and Mercury conjoined her Pluto. Let's see. Yeah, and her moon is forming a quincunx to her Pluto, and that can also be interpreted as her, undergoing scandals that, like I said, make her fall from grace, that bring dishonor. That's that fixed star Ukalai, I believe is how you pronounce it. But yeah, so now finally I want to talk about her transit to kind of point towards what's going on like in the astrological climate, so to speak. So I saw and I found it very interesting that Saturn is conjoined to Cardi's Neptune as well as her ascendant right now. Her Neptune and her Uranus, actually, as well as her ascendant. And this could bring about the, especially with your ascendant, because your ascendant is how people view you, right? So this could point towards somebody's deception, fraud, unethical treatment being brought to the front. It can point towards legal action being taken, as well as scandal and damage to the reputation, relationships, and career. So, very interesting. Very interesting. So, and I wouldn't be surprised if Cardi actually, this is just pure speculation on my part, but I would not be surprised if Cardi came up on the shorter side of this lawsuit that she's putting on Tasha K. But once again, that's just speculative on my part. But yeah, so that concludes my little spiel on Miss Cardi, honey. Y'all drop down in the comment section below with your opinions, comments. Just chop it up. You know what I'm saying? And I know you didn't already hit that like button, so I ain't even gonna stress that no more. I love you. And as always, make sure you practice unconditional self-love so that you can love others. And until next time, I'll holla.